Hello, my name is Rupal Shah and today's topic is olecranon fracture. So this topic will be divided into two parts. The first part will be the clinical aspect of this fracture and the second part will be the rehabilitation part, that is the physiotherapy management. So here we begin. Coming on to the introduction, it is the fracture which involves the proximal end of the ulna. This fracture is not common in children and it is more common in adults. These fractures can be extra-articular or intra-articular, displaced or not undisplaced, and these fractures can be classified as transverse, oblique, comminuted, stable or unstable. The displaced fractures are generally defined as those which have the greater separation more than 2 mm of the fracture segments. The fracture is considered stable if it does not separate or if the degree of the separation does not increase with the flexion of the elbow to 90 degrees. Olecranon fracture may cause the destruction of the extensor mechanism, that is the triceps can lead to trouble, and this to test this the patient should be asked to do the extension of the elbow against the gravity. If the patient is not able to do this, then the extensor mechanism is interrupted and it will require operative repair. So what is the mechanism of injury for the olecranon fracture? It is usually the direct injury. The direct blows are most common injuries, followed by the fall on the outstretched hand, leading to the contraction of the triceps muscle. What are the clinical features? It includes pain, swelling, inability to extend the elbow actively, tenderness, and crepitus. This is the X-ray. Usually the fracture is confirmed with the X-ray, and if any soft tissue injury is suspected, then only the MRI is done, otherwise not. So here you can see the olecranon fracture. So coming on to the complications includes non-union of the fracture, osteoarthritis of the elbow, triceps insufficiency, restricted movements of the elbow, that is stiffness of the elbow, and reduced range of motion. So what would be the orthopedic objective? Orthopedic objective will be, as in every fracture we have seen, there are two orthopedic objectives. One is the alignment, restoration of the articular surfaces properly, and the second one is stability. So under the heading of stability, the olecranon forms the greater sigmoid notch which articulates with the trochlea of the distal humerus, and its architecture adds to the intrinsic stability of the elbow. And the rehabilitation objectives would be the range of motion, which is the first rehabilitation objective, and the second is the muscle strength. So we need to restore the range of motion of the elbow and the wrist properly and focus on the following muscles, specifically the biceps, triceps, supinators, pronators of the forearm and wrist extensors, which consist of the extensor carpi ulnaris, extensor carpi radialis, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor carpi radialis brevis, and wrist flexors, which will be flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor digitorum longus. And functional goals. So functional goals for upper limb problem, the functional goals will always have to be kept in mind by the therapist, because without achieving the functional goals, the rehabilitation is incomplete. So functional goals will include grooming, feeding, dressing, and self-care has to be done independently by the end of the rehabilitation. And even though there may be some permanent loss of extension, the patient is usually able to perform self-care and activities of daily living independently. Moving on, what is the expected duration of the rehabilitation? It is approximately 10 to 12 weeks, and expected time of bone healing will always be 10 to 12 weeks. But if there are any comorbidities, such as the patient is of old age, or the patient is suffering from diabetes, or any other complications such as malunion, then the rehabilitation time will take a little longer. And in the case of non-union, bone grafting might also be needed. So let us come to the treatment. Treatment will consist of the three things. One is the closed reduction with a splint or cast. The second is the open reduction internal fixation. And the third one is the excision and triceps advancement and reattachment of the triceps. So special considerations of the fracture will involve age, and articular involvement. Like I said, if the patient is of old age, then the rehabilitation time will be longer. The patient will have less tolerance for bearing the physiotherapy treatment, because mobilization will hurt him, it will pain, and the tolerance will be less. So we have to educate the patient properly, and we have to counsel him in each and every session. And if the articular involvement is there, and if the patient is of young age, then the growth of the joint might be hampered. So these were the special considerations. Now coming on to the associated injuries. The associated injuries mentioned here are ulnar nerve injury. The ulnar nerve passes just beneath the olecranon process, so that has highest chances to be injured or compressed, and that has to be examined by doing the upper limb tension testing. And if the patient is complaining of tingling in the forearm or in the wrist, then also ulnar nerve has to be examined during the assessment of the olecranon fracture patient. The second is associated injury is the weight bearing. No weight bearing on the affected extremity till a few weeks. That will be mentioned in the PT management, because initially the fracture will be in the healing stage, means the inflammatory stage, reparative phase. So fracture will not be stable enough. So patient should not be allowed weight bearing. What do you mean by weight bearing in the upper limb? Weight bearing in the lower limb everybody knows, but what do you mean by weight bearing in the upper limb? The patient tend to get up from the chair or get up from the bed while keeping the weight on the chair or the bed. So that has to be discontinued till the fracture heals properly. And the therapist will tell you when to do weight bearing. And the next is a gait. After every upper limb fracture, because of immobilization, the normal arm swing is reduced. So when the cast is removed and the patient is walking normally, and the patient is allowed to do all the functional activities with the help of the affected hand, at that time the therapist should focus on the arm swing during the gait training, because if this doesn't happen at this stage, then the arm swing will be reduced forever, and so the abnormality will be seen during the gait. So arm swing has to be focused on during the later stages of rehabilitation. And now the PT management will be done in the next part of the video. Thank you.